name is Nati, and I am from Group Oscar, talking about Virtual Reality Trading Desk, sponsored by the wonderful IMC. So the first thing I want to talk to you guys about is what our challenge was. The idea is right now, whenever stock traders sit in front of a trading desk, they have anywhere from 4 to 6 to 8 different screens at a time. And that can be a little bit of overwhelming. It's hard to see. You're looking around constantly. And we wanted to be able to see, taking the Oculus Rift, which is the main hardware for our project, see if we can incorporate that and kind of make it more of a something you can do stock trading with. One of the quote here by Henry Hubbard, Secretary for Standards, he talks about, there's magic in graphs. The profile of a curve reveals in a flash a whole situation. The curve informs the mind, awakens the imagination, and convinces. So data visualization isn't something that's been relatively new. It's something that they've been talking about for a very long time. For those of you who are not aware of what the Oculus Rift is, it's a head-mounted virtual reality display. I don't have mine on me, but in the first slide there was a picture. It has a 1280 by 800 resolution, but it's split between 2 eyes, as well as there's some overlap, so you only actually have like a 800 by 640. It's pretty low resolution right now. Still very much in development. The consumer version hasn't gone out. The development kit is what we've been working with. But it does have powerful motion tracking for your head, and it's be able to give you a lot of gyroscopic information. In terms of what we did, we broke our program into 3 pieces. There's data readers, which these are all pieces I'll talk about in a little bit. Data readers, data programs, and user interface. Data readers accumulate data from one of 3 different sources. The first source we started with was just randomized market simulation data. Our next source we moved up to was Yahoo Finance Commons separated values files. And then we moved on to taking the data that IMC actually uses to run their algorithms, the .h5 files. And what it does is it compresses, it doesn't, or ignores where the data came from, and then just outputs a class that all of the data program can use without any of the implementation specific details. That class is turned into a data program, and you create the data program, which is the visualization you're going to show on the screen. It churns through and then does some OpenGL magic and shows something on the screen. An example visualization, or data program as we call them, this is one of them. The idea here is that as time goes by, the ribbon grows into the background. As the price increases, it goes up. As the width is proportional to log base 10 of the volume. And it turns green whenever there's a nice spike, and then turns red when there's a decrease. In terms of what it looks like if you guys weren't able to try it when you were upstairs, you look forward and there's kind of 5 distinct screens, each with their own visualizations on them. We have heat maps, bar charts, ribbon chart, line graph, as well as a bubble chart, and they're all they can all feed from the same data source, they can feed from different data sources. It just kind of depends on what you want. In terms of the project and kind of the lessons we learned, the first lesson we learned is that OpenGL in Linux development is a non-trivial task. It definitely has a steep learning curve. Finally getting our code to compile, took a couple days. Getting all your sudo apt-get installs, or whenever we switched over to Fedora, your yum installs of everything. There were so many dependencies that we had to pick up and figure out, just to get our code to compile and to run. Another thing we learned was something we talked about a lot in the software development course with Ross Anderson. Just distributing work and project management is a really difficult task. Being able to predict how long it's going to take for you to code a piece of the program, and then being able to equally distribute that work amongst people was like a really, really difficult task that we weren't looking, or we didn't expect. Another thing is that the Rift is in development for a reason. That resolution is extremely limiting. One of the things I'm sure that I talked to the graphics group here, I don't know, they're sitting here somewhere, I'm sure. The people who worked with the Oculus Rift had a lot of issues with the low resolution because whenever you try to show text, you actually have a lot of issues in that you can't really read small text, and with stock trading, there's so much small text that we relied on visualizations mostly. And the last one was just kind of understanding our own limitations. This kind of links back to hard to distribute work. Understanding our own limitations is, I don't know about you guys, but when we first wrote the specification at the beginning, looking back, that would have taken a team of a significant amount of developers, quite a few months to produce. So what we promised in the first thing, and then after we met with Talon, our industry professional, what we kind of refined that down into, it was really important in learning what our own limitations were and what we could do in a 6-week time span. So that's our virtual reality trading desk. I really hope you guys were able to try it. The Oculus Rift is a wonderful product.